Hey everybody, it's Catherine Barnes. I actually made a video yesterday, but then I didn't like it, so I'm gonna try again right now before I head out to educate some young people. So I'm gonna start off by saying that I have a lot of things going on right now. I am getting ready to do Yes, No, Maybe So at San Diego Fringe, so I have to do all the promoting and messaging people and, making sure it's listed and all the different things, and just all those little small alligators are biting at me right now. So San Diego Fringe, number one. Number two, I just got my official diagnosis. I am autistic, which we knew, and I am ADHD. And not only am I ADHD, but apparently there's two types of ADHD. There's the inattentive type, and then there's the hyperactive type. And I'm both. So I'm not only a double winner, I am a double winner, and I will be going to In-N-Out soon to celebrate. So there's that. And then the third thing that's going on is that I am getting ready to leave my middle school teaching job of 8 years. Now, I don't really know how much I can talk about that. It's probably better that I don't say too much about it, but what I am going to say is that it's very hard and it's very painful. So I am once again in a state of grief. Now, I've already done a video blog about grief. I did it back in, I want to say October or November. And that was after I found out that a very good friend of mine, who actually had been my friend since middle school, passed away very suddenly and very unexpectedly. And I was talking in that video about the fact that white American culture doesn't really give us great ways to deal with our grief. And a lot of that came from my own observations from when I studied in Ghana in West Africa and saw the way that they do funerals there. And then it also came from a book that I read by Brisha Wade called Grieving While Black, where, again, she basically talks about the fact that white people don't know how to attune to our own grief, and that's part of what can make us dangerous, okay? So what I know about grief for me is that it's very intense and it's very overwhelming. And as a neurodivergent person, I'm always worried that it's going to lead to meltdowns. So I have all these things on my plate right now, and I think I'm freaking out, like, oh my gosh, I have to manage my grief properly so I don't have any really embarrassing meltdowns. So how do I do that? That's what I'm worried about. There's a coach named Bear Bear who talks about making space for grief in one's life. And I like that idea, but once again, like, how do you do that, Working on my show is really great. That gives my life like positive forward motion. It can also be very draining. And so as I'm like doing all these social media things, I'm going, wait, am I making space for grief? Am I making enough space? Am I going to have a meltdown? Oh my God. Okay. And then there's this idea of, well, what should grief look like? Oh, the lights are going out. What should grief look like? And, I have this idea that grief needs to look like crying. It needs to look like, lighting a candle. It needs to look like journaling. But that isn't really what I'm feeling inclined towards right now. What I'm wanting to do is dance to fast dance music. And I guess like the European cultural part of my brain says, well, that's not grief. But I think about West Africa and I think about those funerals where dancing is such a big part of the funerals. And I think, well, maybe I'm onto something. Maybe this actually is part of my grief process, and maybe it's okay to make space and time to move to fast music, I saw this picture on Dr. Yawa Blaze Instagram of a woman dancing on top of a coffin. She was a black woman. And I think it might have been in the US. It might have been in New Orleans, where they obviously have tons and tons of West African influence in their funerals. And she was talking about dancing with death. And I think that's kind of what's going on here. I mean, yes, leaving my job is not the same as a death, but it is in a way. And it's tough and it's hard to process. So anyway, I think that's what I have to say about that. If you want to see Yes, No, Maybe So, check out the link below for tickets, and visit queenmabmusic.com to find out more about who I am and what I do. I'm Catherine Barnes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.